Let me start with the sacred frequency. So welcome, y'all. I'm Dr. Allison J.K. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Clearly, it's an interesting time to be on planet Earth right now, and my guidance has been to help increase the peace and calm. So we're going to be doing that together. I believe that we're going to be together for a bit longer than the normal of my Facebook Lives so that we can really get to your questions and answers, as well as the other things that I've been investigating and that seem to want to get to you all, including clearings and activations for increased peace and calm. So happy equinox. Tomorrow is our equinox. It's the earliest it's been. Hi, Keith. It's the earliest it's been in 124 years. Hi, Kevin. Thank you. Apparently, with the equinox coming on the 19th tomorrow instead of the 20th or 21st. So in that alignment of the equinox is balance between day and night, as well as in the northern hemisphere, as this is the spring equinox, it's about rebirth, yeah? And there's so many other religious, I think it's the Persian New Year, as well as Easter is coming up. There's just a host of rebirth celebrations, festivals, and holidays around this time in the northern hemisphere. And then in the southern hemisphere, for those of you down there, it's just a little bit south of me at this point, it's the autumn equinox. And so in that alignment, we have the opportunity for rebirth and fresh starts, as well as for balance. So I wanted to take advantage of that alignment as well in offering this today. So I'd love for those of you, as you're here, welcome, 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 to please go ahead and put in the location of where you are so that we can see how distributed these energies are. We'll do an activation a little bit later on for the entire grid of the planet, as I've been doing on my own, and I've been doing with in various interviews I've been on, as well as with my most advanced students, my Dragon Master students, across the planetary grid, so we can help dissipate the COVID-19. So the first bit of our time together is going to be a little bit more information geared. You're going to want to likely have pen and paper. The replay here, thank you. Keep it coming, you guys, showing me where you're from. We have Cape Coral, Florida. We have Heartland, Michigan. We have Vermont. Cool, you're back there. We have Minnesota. Keep them coming, y'all. Let me see where you are. New York City. East Anglia, England, UK, nice. Long Island, New York, excellent. Glastonbury, UK, hey Richard, excellent. Kevin, is that Missouri? Then we have Tarpon Springs, Florida, Nebraska. I know that there's a lot of you joining Arizona. There's a lot of you joining from Kansas, from the UK, coming in from the connection I have with our beloved Samia and Dave in the Glastonbury Positive Living Group, where I'm with you every time I'm over there. We have the Philippines from Manila, excellent, Ray. Really glad we have representation from the Philippines. New Jersey, Detroit, Kansas, Chicago. Michelle's also from Florida. We have Massachusetts. Hi, Denise. Pennsylvania, Washington, Seattle, excellent. We have Yonkers, New York, excellent. Keep them coming. Let me know where you are, because I know that there's people from New Zealand and South Africa. We have as far away now as the Philippines. So we want to get the touch points across the planet. We have British Columbia, excellent. Great, Nikki. So in the beginning here, if you want, you can listen to the replay to catch the notes. As many of you know, I have decades of practice as a holistic health, wellness, and energy medicine practitioner, lots of certifications that aren't worth going into now. So one of the things that I have been asking both CNN with its town halls on this coronavirus, as well as MSNBC, is to where they seem to be presenting news all about that's repetitive and redundant. Here's another one from UK. Hi, Taryn. Hi, Tammy from Berkshire. Taryn. Jersey City, Ohio. Keep them coming, y'all. Thank you. Glastonbury tour. Yay! You made it on live. Hi, Samya. Hello to all you beloveds from the Glastonbury Positive Living Group. So both CNN and MSNBC, I have not seen any broadcasting, and I've been asking them, whether it's me, myself, or another expert with natural health and holistic health and wellness suggestions to use it for the prevention of this and the boosting, more UKs, hi, and the boosting of the immune system. So I'm going to give you some of those tips now to start with. We're going to be more in the intellectual mind, and then we'll go into the clearings and activations and grid work to help dissipate COVID-19. So it is a coronavirus, and the common cold is a coronavirus too, by the way. So what we're looking at is developing the herd immunity for this new coronavirus. And as many of you know, I lived for a decade over in Asia, and while I was in Taiwan, I'll never forget this. So downtown in the city I lived in, there was a bookstore that had some bilingual books that were in both Chinese and English. And then when I went to Taipei and the other major cities, they had bigger selections. And the very first book I bought there, many of you know this was my first career, environmental conservation and public policy and politics around protecting the environment. So the very first book I bought there was all the traditional Chinese medicine supplies, the strange creatures and critters that they put in, like deer antler, for example, is in a formula that I have used before for increased vitality, because every spring the deers grow the antlers, right? They're regenerative. And so in traditional Chinese medicine, they chop that up and put that in a concoction that is for rejuvenation of the Jing, or the life force essence. So I had this book that was showing me how poaching was happening and environmental conservation wasn't happening for traditional Chinese medicine. And at that time, while I was living in Taiwan and teaching and administrating at an international school, I did a lot of traveling as well, and studied the holistic health and wellness and energy flows and mindfulness and meditation. Hi, Michaela from Glastonbury. Hi, Mo. I don't know how to say your name. Is it Mole? Jacqueline Kennedy Bray. Hi. I'm so glad you all are here. We have 54 coming, and then there's 54 on live now, and then there's a lot more coming, and it's so great. The more of us that are on here receiving these frequencies, the more distributed across the planet, as well as the more hooked in we can have these. Hi, Betty. Love back. Glad you're here. We can have these frequencies hook in and spread across the planet to dissipate the coronavirus. So the long story short is there's a lot of funky animals used in traditional Chinese medicine, and there were sections in different major cities that I would go to, and I would see these weird critters and creatures used in markets. There was a centralized area like of, thanks Claire, hey Kay, glad you're here, of all the animals. And so the Wuhan district where this came from in China, it's said to be from a bat, right? So the transmission from species to species, it's always wonky. I lived over in Taiwan for the SARS virus, which was pig transmitted. And we had to take the temperature of everyone, all of our students, in homeroom in the morning. And if they were over 97.8, we had to send them back home. So one of the things my dad, some of you who read the email yesterday, asked me was my take on how we're doing here in America and what the actual timeline is that I sense. And I know that you all on this live are doing a great job with the social distancing. And it may seem extreme right now, not only the isolationist types of behaviors we're now being asked to live in the social distancing, but also the timeline. And I'll address the timeline in just a moment. But I do know that I saw flashes of Chicago International Airport, the O'Hare airports, from Saturday night. And I know that it was a lot of people coming back from Europe and the UK as the bands were coming in. And the airport was packed, and people were standing cheek to cheek, jowl to jowl. And I know also that we're in a democracy in the West, or in democracies in the West, and it's harder to have the citizenry behave in a uniform way than it is over there. I saw it much easier to be responded to the SARS virus and the uniform behavior. So the best that we can all do to keep the isolationist, separatist, distancing for right now, maybe it's actually in the spiritual teaching that I do. One of the interpretations I've had for the last couple of decades is how often the ego mind interprets things the exact opposite of what is meant from the spiritual or soulful or divine perspective. So even though the irony is there of we're being asked for the social distancing, right, perhaps it's to help lead into unity even more, which is a major aspect of the new golden era we're moving into. So I'm not here to offer or espouse a lot of that kind of framing of why this is happening. What I want to, I'm sure there's enough discussion going on out there. What I want to do is help dissipate the virus. And so one of the things I've considered is, do I help, because I've noticed, I've been monitoring it. I had a client over in the Philippines who had a friend that I've met in Hong Kong right as this hit, get the coronavirus and end up in the hospital on a ventilator. And he was in his third week when she told me about this. And so from week 3 to week 4, I did some treatment on him, and his lung capacity went from what had been 18 up to 25. And then it was just, hi Marilyn, and then it was decided that by my client's husband, who I've worked with as well, to tell the friend in Hong Kong in the hospital that Allison was getting his back. And I did. And within that week, within a couple of days after being in the hospital on a ventilator for approximately 4 weeks by that point, he left. He was fine. He got better. So then, as we go across the planet, I've had some masterminders. I have masterminders from all over the planet and clients, obviously, from all over. As it hit Germany, I had a masterminder have her husband. They were visited by family members for the weekend prior. A family member found out he was positive for the coronavirus, so they got tested. She didn't have it, my masterminder, but her husband did. And so he went into quarantine. And I mean, I don't know, because it's been going at males more than females. And again, I don't want to necessarily ponder the big reason behind this. I mean, every time there has been transmission from an animal to a human, a lot of this is happening as the Ebola virus happened when we started to encroach upon territory, land, ecosystems that had not yet been touched by humans and had not yet had human habitation. So that's how the Ebola virus broke out. And then here we are today with the coronavirus and its other species to human transmission, it's presumed to be. And in that context, we have to develop immunity for it. One of the things that I have thought about doing, and I asked my guidance, is based on the results I've gotten, just 2 of which I've listed here to you, would it be helpful for me to do some kind of protective installation for folks who wanted it in order to have their immune system boosted? And I got a no, because it could then act as a way for people to become more cavalier with not taking the appropriate measures of social distancing and of not going out for any extra visits. So I'm still asking questions around that. I visited and had a session with my scientist client who works on global warming up in Toronto today, and he was reminding me of how whenever there is, let's put it this way, a lot of the end of times predictions match what's talked about for global warming. And his sense is the earth will given him the sense that the earth will take care of herself, but the question is in part the earth helping herself? And then if you look at the results, there's less travel, there's less carbon emissions going on right now. And we're reaching out to each other and connecting more. So I'm just curious if this is part of the new that is threading its way in. So I just want to offer that. And we'll move on from the how or the why. I do want to also offer that my healthy cousin, she's a nurse as well as a holistic practitioner and consciousness herself, works out every day, great diet, basically really good nutrition, hearty, in her 40s, had a friend visit her last week when she got home from here and then Costa Rica, here being Florida. And that friend was asymptomatic. He's also very healthy. And within 2 days, 48 hours, she started to have a fever and body aches. And I got on it the next day, and within 3 days, the fever went down. So she asked him, hey, did you come over here asymptomatic? Or what symptoms? He said, no, I was asymptomatic. That was last Wednesday. And on Thursday, he started having symptoms, and on Friday, she did. So she has already broken the fever by Sunday, and the body aches have dissipated. However, her lungs are really hurting right now. So, yeah, Tracy, it's possible. So really, again, limiting, like even visiting parents in any extra socializing is allowing it to spread, and we really want to do our best to minimize any trips to the store, anything unnecessary. I am seconding that because of my experience in watching what helped us get through SARS so much more quickly was that containment of movement and of exposure. And I know that we're having a bit more of a challenge doing that in the West because it's just so atypical to how we're used to living and what we're used to being asked to do by our government. Okay, so that having been said, one of the things that I know that's really helpful, the Rife frequencies, I'm going to review just a tiny bit some of, cool, okay, some of the suggestions I gave on last month's free monthly call with the Rife frequencies. It's R-I-F-E, and this is somebody who created a machine of understanding frequencies from a sonic perspective and how to go at viruses with frequencies that will destroy the virus. And he was successful, so much so that he was actually asked to leave the United States because he was treating cancer successfully. Now, if you look up the science and the research behind the Rife machine, there's going to be people calling it quackery. And then there's actually also many studies done on the frequency themselves. And as I talk about in my first book, What If There's Nothing Wrong? I mean, that's the way that the halls of orthodox science approach anything that's new, right? Or that's not already been tested, as they call it quackery. It's part of the old conditioning when we bring in something that's not of the well-funded mainstream approach. I'm giving these suggestions from what we have the power to do for ourselves. There is a Rife frequency for virus. So go on YouTube, put in Rife, and then you could put antiviral. Intuitively, even though I did some research, brief research on the frequencies for different viruses, I don't intuitively feel, and I used to prescribe these frequencies to clients with health issues, and they work. I'm not saying across the board they all work, but they definitely go at. So let me back up. My understanding is that while we want to dissipate lower fear frequencies with love, because love absorbs all, there is a lower frequency contained within the COVID-19 that is fear-based. And from living amongst the Chinese for 10 years, somebody's from Liverpool. Hi, Maureen. Hey, Cheryl. There is a particular way that fear doesn't get necessarily as vocalized as it does in the United States, at least. Amongst the Chinese, it's more internalized from everything I saw after the 10 years of living there and then turning around and training new expat teachers on the cultural differences because I had come to understand them rather well. So it feels like the fear around this new era and where we're moving into may have had a particular ability to allow that infestation from the bats to the humans and allow it to grow. And we want to contain that. But it's not just the love vibration being higher and able to dissipate the fear. There also seems to be like a lower density that wants to be gotten at to clear this more off the face of the planet. So I know that our beloved dragons in my most recent book, my publisher's on this live stream here, Reasonable Dragons, talks about the dragons. The dragons seem to be capable of going into lower frequencies and burning them up, and remembering that all the ley lines across the planet were originally called dragon lines, or lung mei in Chinese. So the dragons seem to be able to go in and absorb and break up lower frequencies. So what I'm suggesting to you now is the Rife frequency. Sorry, I keep doing that with my hair. The Rife frequencies have an ability different than the Solfeggio frequencies, which are also on YouTube. And the Solfeggio frequency of 432, hi Keith, has been suggested to be used for the coronavirus. That was Solfeggio frequency, SOLFEGGIO, on YouTube, that the frequency 432 is good to dissipate as well as bring in a love vibration towards the frequencies of the coronavirus. However, what I'm understanding is let's use the Rife frequencies too, because they go out the density. And I mean, if you listen to the Rife frequencies, they're not comfortable. And in that, you know that there's a healing response. So there's not only the Rife frequencies for viruses, but there's also Rife frequencies that are considered a cure-all. You'll see that in the title on YouTube, or you can put it in the search on YouTube. And then there's also Rife, R-I-F-E, frequencies that are at 10,000 hertz. And I have intuitively been guided for the coronavirus, the Rife frequencies at 10,000 hertz with the PSI, PSI, perfect ratio frequency. So if you just do Rife frequencies 10,000 HZ in the search on YouTube, you'll come up with it. There's, I think, 10,000 hertz Rife frequencies. Look for the one that says the PSI frequency with it. Okay, there is a jade, and I'm moving on to topics other than frequencies right now. Hey, Sergey, there's a jade and tourmaline mat. And now this is using infrared technology. And when so the jade and tourmaline mat, it's not even that expensive. You can go onto Amazon, you know, God bless it, Amazon, and some others say different things about Amazon, but it's called it's the Healthy Line, which is the company that puts this out. Hey, Terry, and Healthy Line, that was jade tourmaline mat. And when jade and tourmaline are heated, jade has been used historically in the Chinese culture for all sorts of purposes. And even in the Mayan cultures, there's some jade artifacts found in Mayan archaeological digs as well. But when it's heated, it becomes infrared, and the infrared helps boost the immune system. It's also antiviral. Yes, Bajana, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but yes, not Rife frequencies, R-I-F-E, you got it. Frequencies 10,000 hertz with the PSI. Thank you for typing that out. That's correct. Yes. And then you could also, I'm answering a question right now. So then you could look on the chat right now. Bajana just put in what you're going to put into YouTube for the frequencies. Now at the Solfeggio level of frequencies for peace and calm, you could use 528 hertz. And that's the Solfeggio frequencies. And I'd be grateful if somebody who is one of my masterminders used to me with the Solfeggio frequencies, if you could type in the word Solfeggio. These are based on the old Gregorian monks, their chants. So it's sacred harmonics and frequencies and vibrations going back to the ancient days. That's the Solfeggio frequencies based on the Gregorian chants. So it's been suggested the 432 Solfeggio helps with the coronavirus. I'm suggesting use the Rife for that. Thanks, Kay. And then 528 is the level for the Solfeggio frequencies to bring in more peace and calm and love and healing. Thanks, Shannon. So then now I'm going back to the Healthy Line, jade and tourmaline mat. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Emily. You guys are great. The jade and tourmaline mat, heated, just plug it in. I mean, I've seen there's a mat you can lay on, and then there's one you can sit on. I would recommend the one you can lay on, especially if you already have the coronavirus and you want to get the lungs helped. But just laying on it daily boosts your immune system, and it's antiviral, as well as it's incredibly peaceful. It brings a lot of sense of well-being to your body. So that's Healthy Line, jade and tourmaline mat. Coming out of China, I'm going to a third item now that I'm suggesting holistic wellness for this. Coming out of China, what's been studied is vitamin C, given intravenously, has been incredibly helpful. Now, vitamin C, unlike, I see this happen a lot when people transfer to supplements from prescription or Western medicine, and there's this idea that that there's only a certain amount, and if I take anything over that, it's like going into some kind of problem. There's a certain area of herbs, tonic herbalism, that's not true. And the vitamin C, it's not true. You pee out whatever your body doesn't need for vitamin C. Now, people's systems are different. My body really likes vitamin C from amla berry, AMLA, rather than vitamin C from like ester C. I also use Dr. Mercola's liposomal vitamin C because its bioavailability and delivery is so good. So you could be taking like 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and that would be good. And then you could just pee it out. Yeah, you got it. Vitamin C is water soluble. So you just pull out what your body will just not process what's not needed. And they gave vitamin C in the hospitals to coronavirus folks in China, and that was one of the most efficient ways they found to combat it. So if we're all taking an increased dosage now, we're boosting our immune system as well as preventing, obviously, the coronavirus. And then if we have our system surrounded by the frequencies as well as the vitamin C internally, we're starting to get a little bit more boosted like we want. Fourth item, it seems like disease comes in, especially viruses, when our pH is not at the optimal level of 7.8 to 9. So I know that drinking alcohol, eating high protein diets, which I've been guilty of as a weight trainer, they induce more acidicness. And so acidicness is what decreases the alkalinity of the body. And it's easier for a virus to come into an acidic body. So one of the ways that you can keep your body very alkaline is water with lemon. I drink a ton of it in the morning. It's the first thing I do, and I clear out my system and then I'm drinking green tea, which is the next suggestion. Green tea, not sugar, because again, sugar will break down into acidicness in your body. Unsweetened green tea is a great booster too for the immune system and antiviral as well. Amanda, thanks. Hi, nice to see you. I've been calling out to you recently. Thanks for hearing me. Glad that you're here. Okay, so another thing that's been talked about is colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is known to boost immune systems. One of the things that I've been talking about with that cousin of mine in the healthcare industry who has coronavirus is she had more recently than I had read an article that colloidal silver had been tested and applied to people with coronavirus and that it had worked. She read that it was not colloidal silver, just go with the pure silver. Take that for what it's worth. Do research on colloidal silver. People take that whenever, as soon as they get sick. It's not something that you want to be taking like vitamin C preventatively daily. Put more garlic and ginger in your diet. I know that when I lived in Asia, one of the things I learned to live is food is thy medicine. And as soon as somebody would get sick, they would go to garlic and ginger. And then there were certain like items you could buy in the markets like grass jelly. It was a drink that you could just get. As soon as you started to get a sore throat, you could drink. Speaking of sore throats, elderberry is not good for coronavirus. So please don't use it. Also, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that's in part why I'm also doing this, so we can take back our power and feel like we're in some level of control and we're doing good here for our bodies and our communities and our planet. One of the pieces of misinformation that's getting out there is that if you drink a lot of water to the throat and gargle with water, that's going to help because the virus hits in the throat. That's not, I saw a doctor debunk that. Another aspect that I want to share that I saw a doctor speak about was that it doesn't tend to exist on cardboard surfaces. One doctor said it exists on all surfaces, just assume it's on everything, like when you go to the store. So somebody was asking a question, should I go to the store or should I get the food delivered? And the doctor's response was, it doesn't matter, it's on everything. And then I saw another doctor a couple of days later, I think that this was Fauci from the American Center for Disease Control with the Allergy and Disease Response section. And he was saying, it doesn't live on surfaces. Don't worry about that. So it feels like as long as we remain aware and cautious, meaning minimize as much interaction as you can, take these preventative measures, have these frequencies. If you don't have the coronavirus, you don't necessarily need to listen to the rife frequencies, but if it's in your household, or you're self-isolating because you feel like you've been exposed, you may want to start using the right frequencies. But if that's not the case, Terry, I don't know any more about elderberry. My cousin had mentioned that in her research when she had the COVID-19, that she found out elderberry for some reason, and I didn't clock it. Why? I don't know the why. I just know that the bottom line is they've found don't use elderberry for the coronavirus. Sorry. What we're doing right now is we're wanting it to not be that bad, right? So let me go to that as I look at your comments, because what is happening right now is they're coming down really hard and severe in order to have us take this more seriously. So in America anyway, we could stop going out. And I know the UK just announced up-leveled cautionary, you're welcome, Terry, movement, not quite as much as us here in the United States. Thanks for the love. So I feel like part of what the intensifying that's happened over the last 48 hours is just to get our attention to how quickly this could spread if we continue to go about our regular daily life. So it's spring break here in Florida. And apparently I saw on the news that on Clearwater Beach, it was wall-to-wall people on Monday. I live in a community where there are people walking by going to the pool, and they're just closing the pools tomorrow. So as long as we're not having, hey Paige, long interaction with somebody, and we're not interacting with what's coming out of their nose, because it really lives in the nose, then we should be fine. So as long as we remain cautious, aware and cautious, and we take the necessary precautions and we keep ourselves boosted, and that includes the spirit and the mind and the consciousness, and we're moving into that now, then we'll get through this. And what if, like, there's a lot of new that you can create? Like, what's another way to reframe this for you to have like the time to go within and regroup or boost your business, or work on those projects, or meditate, or have that time with your family? I'm sure all of you are, you're conscious enough to have asked those questions already. But one of the things that I want to offer too, that's in the post here for this Facebook Live, is the money event I did on Friday. The Money is on Your Side event, timed to help dissipate all of this worry about what's happening to the economy, because it's resilient. It will bounce back as soon as we're done with this. And the more cautious we each are, it seems like that's the way we'll keep it down, and we'll be done with this sooner. So the Money is on Your Side event is up on the post there, the link to get that. And the more of us listening to those frequencies and allowing for new possibilities to come in with our money, and to be calm and stay connected to the abundance for all vibrations, rather than the fear and the panic that's being perpetuated on the news. Maybe this is our opportunity, especially those of us in a community like this, to really thrive and set up this new way, this new golden era. So, you can be 5 days asymptomatic and be spreading the virus. So that's another reason why we want to remain cautious in limiting our social interaction. So if we just have calm resolution with this understanding of what we can do, as well as why it's being made such a big deal on the news and why it seems so severe right now, contextualize it, take the mountaintop perspective, understand that if it seems so severe right now, the timeline may not be as long as what they're projecting, which they just extended in the States last night to months and months. So my sense of it, please don't hold me to this, but I was pleasantly surprised 2 nights ago when I again visited this, because it's the same thing I got about 2 weeks back. Now remember, I've been dealing with this since this was in China via clients over there. And if we stay in this social limiting point, distancing point, and we limit our interactions, we do everything that's already been talked about, and we play the frequencies, my sense is that those of us who are tuned in will sniff, smell, sense at the end of March It's shifting. We'll start to see it mid-April. It doesn't seem like it's going to be as long as what they're predicting at all. I've been doing a lot of examination of what the doctor who helped get rid of, not get rid of, but change in the understanding around the HIV virus that leads to AIDS. He was providing some graphs the other night based on our trajectory in New York City with what happened in China, Italy, Spain. And if we stay, even with the numbers that are going to spike in the United States, because more testing is going to happen, so we're going to see the numbers spike. But if we stay in this non-interactive, outside of interactions like this way, it will contain and flatten the curve. So my sense of it is we have the ability to have this end a lot sooner. Excellent, Lindsay. Yeah, that's my sense too. And I cautiously say that, and I ask you all not to hold me to it, and I was so pleasantly surprised 2 nights ago as these announcements that are more severe were being made, and as the numbers creep up, and as the time frame that we're hearing on the news extends. I was so happy to see that it was still the same, that we will smell it at the end of March, and we will see we'll see evidence of this getting under control mid-April. Okay, that feels really good. A lot of you feel a lot better after that. So, also, one thing that came out of my conversation today with the scientist client, and we're talking about possibly doing an event within 2 weeks around the DNA. And I'm going to get into that now. Typical viruses don't last long. What we're being asked to do is develop within our DNA, the DNA encoding that gives us the antibodies or the immunity to this. And so what you're hearing on the news possibly is that herd immunity response that we're looking to get out there. So what if we could do that through frequency? Because I know that a lot of you have seen a lot of DNA activation kinds of offerings in the spiritual awakening kinds of communities for the last couple of years. And so if coronavirus, and if everything is energy, and energy trumps matter, meaning energy comes before the physical, I want to see what else is possible. And you can come back and listen to the replay and write down the suggestions given in the beginning. So hold on a second. It feels like there seems to want to be an up-leveling right now. Let's use this. So we're moving into the clearing within the activations part. So I'm going to do some work right now, silently, and see what else is possible with the DNA. Please don't stop any of the cautions in anything I've suggested here that you're taking in the physical. You might want to just close your eyes and receive this. I've already done a lot of work ahead of time on this. Sorry, if you can get both hands free. One hand wants to be on the pituitary gland, so palm on pituitary gland, which is right here, third eye, and the other palm on the navel. So what was just done? Hey, Colette, glad. Hey, Michelle, you're welcome. What was just done was seeing what else is possible with developing in your DNA sequencing the immunity now online within humans, with enough of us to have the herd mentality for the virus to be dissipated, first and foremost you, and then with a group of us and more people listening and sharing this, it being out there. Frequency-wise, remembering that anything in the physical first has to be a frequency. So you can feel free to come in and listen to this part every day. I believe that, well, you can just see what part of the replay to come into. So the first half is intellectual information, you're welcome. The second half is the clearings. So here we go with the clearings. So if any of you are driving, you may want to just pull over to the side of the road, please. So anything and everything that is causing you to feel out of control, to feel that things are out of control and it's chaotic, any and all of the fear that you've picked up on from the conditioning of the trance of the masses, are you all willing to burn up with the flames of transmutation? You want to say yes, because that will invite the energy into your mind, body, spirit system more. So if you say out loud, yes. So we're going to go ahead and burn up with the flames of transmutation any and all of the imprints from your parents that are in any way causing you to be more attuned to fear, to sniff out and pick up on fear and become more activated and attached to fear. Any and all of the imprints from your lineage that in any way cause you to attach to fear more. Any and all free-floating thoughts and trauma that cause you to become attuned to the fear vibrations, or perpetuate fear, or be reactive to fear, or be more vulnerable to fear. That's also getting burned up with the flames of transmutation. Any and all contracts, oaths, vows, swearings, and promises you've ever made or taken across all time, space, dimensions, and realities that in any way cause you to be more vulnerable to fear, that allow fear into your field anymore, that cause you to become out of control and at the mercy of fear and lose all your wits about you. Those are also getting burned up with the flames of transmutation, and any and all unconscious beliefs and evaluations and judgments that lead you to carry more fear or be more vulnerable to fear or more prone to fear or perpetuate the fear. We're going to burn all of this up with the flames of transmutation. And it seems like we're going to come in and do a separate clearing for karma. But in regards to fear, any and all karma as appropriate that causes you to live in fear more or connect to the fear vibration more or let in fear more. All of that is also getting burned up with the flames of transmutation. And we are also going to repeat, cut any and all cords from the trance of the masses, the collective fear, and the conditioning there. Burning this all up with the flames of transmutation. Some of you may want to shake out your feet or shake out your hands. So we're going to activate the upgrade now. So any and all latent keys and codes and inherent talents and ancient wisdom within you, and any and all blessings and support possible to bring this all into alignment with your at least fifth dimensional divine blueprint for your highest potential and your highest possibilities and your highest destiny to be actualized, activating the upgrade now. So any and all of the karma as appropriate that has led to this coming in being a pandemic. Are you all willing to burn up the flames of transmutation of all of that karma so that we can proceed without this need of the coronavirus? Okay. Excellent, Lindsay. Thank you for that. I've gotten increased butterfly activity in the last 24 hours too. So all of the karma as appropriate within each of us, within the entire, this is a heavy hitter here, within all of the countries on the planet, within all of the leaders on the planet, within all, as appropriate, all of the karma that has led to the coronavirus outbreak as a pandemic. We're going to burn it all up now with the flames of transmutation. Some of you may, whatever you're feeling, I am seeing some dominoes. Feel free to offer any perceptions if you want. No need to. Just receive if you want. Your choice. But there is a lot collapsing right now. Thank you for being such willing vehicles for this. No need to do any work. Just receive. We'll do that in a minute, Bajana. Oh, wow, Terry. So you will want to remove your hands from your bodies. I know, Shannon, it was huge. Thank you for that perception and feedback. Thanks, Joanna. It's still running. So this, you're being a vehicle right now. You're in service and you'll be blessed for this on behalf of helping clear the karma off the planet that allowed this to rise or is giving it. Cool, Claire. The ability to perpetuate itself. Excellent, Colette. Lindsay, the neck will probably clear out in just a moment. It still wants to go higher. Excellent, Carrie. Good, Michelle. It's still tuning up. Can anybody? Good, Chandra. I don't know if anybody can hear or sense it. It's going higher. Hey, Tough D, aka Graham. Good, Bajana, let yourself cry. It's a huge release that's happening, and it's not just yours. You could be releasing on behalf of the karma of some of the countries of planet, or the humanity, whoever, I went to all levels of the karma, but thank you each for being a vehicle for this karmic healing of the planet so that we don't require the COVID-19. To get any worse. Yeah, I would expect people's ears are responding. In the crown, yep. It's really bloody high. Okay, activating the upgrade now. So, latent keys and codes. Hey, Samya, thank you for that feedback. And inherent talents. Excellent, Devi. Yes. And latent, I'm going to do that again. So activating the upgrade now. It meant a lot, Samya, your perception. Thank you. Excellent, Amanda. Amanda, I can't even talk right now. Yeah, Sam, the high pitch, Samya, the high pitched sound. Yes, yes, Keith. Yes, head and ears ringing. Yes, Odile, ears, crown, and throat. I'm guessing you mean yes. So that's how you can, in a way, tell not only the high frequency of the clearing, but also the frequency work we're doing on the frequency of the coronavirus itself. Thank you, Susan. Yeah. Yeah, I would expect you to be feeling heat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and activate the upgrade now. So any and all latent keys and codes and inherent talents and ancient wisdom within you and all around you, and any and all blessings and support possible to bring this all into alignment with our at least fifth dimensional divine blueprint. For our highest potential and our highest possibilities to be realized, and for our highest destiny to be physically actualized, activating the upgrade now. So I want to do more of an activation now for hope and knowing and resolution. Diane, thanks for the feedback. Dizzy, Keith, excellent perception. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah, that was a huge upliftment. So all of the things you've been told and all of the news you've taken in and all of the worries and all of the concern and all of the anything that has dispelled your hope in humanity moving into this new golden age and resilient beauty, and fear that you have, doubts or worry that humanity won't make it, or humanity is messed up or effed up, or we're doomed, or that you're going to get sick, or I don't know, it doesn't feel like this is that population, thankfully, or that humanity has to have a huge purging in order for us to wake up. Any and all of those heavy, dense beliefs, we're going to go ahead and in one big bundle, burn it all up. So go ahead, you can throw out, don't have to write it in, please. We don't want to spread it anymore, but just bring to mind if you want to. You don't even have to do this. One thing you've heard a newscaster say that's stuck in your mind, like some of you, it seemed to be the trajectory, the timeline. Some of you, maybe the numbers increasing, whatever it is that's gotten you. Go ahead and throw it into this metaphorical fire, symbolic fire. I'm going to burn it all up with the flames of transmutation, all of the fear that's been spouted and spread. Hey, Sergey, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Keith. Thanks, Ja. Excellent, Debbie. Glad to hear that from you. So I want to do this more as an activation. So we're going to activate. Hi, Dave. Hi, over there in Glastonbury. We got this, y'all. We got this. So I'm going to activate the hope now. I'm going to activate the knowing we've got this now. Dave Insomnia, that was perfect timing. Thank you. We've got this. We are all such bright lights. We are all such high vibrations. We all have such knowing. We've got this. And we're going to share this knowing. We're going to share this loving vibration, as well as the ability to work with the lower ones, the denser vibrations that the coronavirus seems to be wanting to burn up. Holding high, holding strong, and taking care of ourselves. So any and all latent keys and codes and inherent talents and ancient wisdom within you and all around you, and any and all blessings and support possible to bring in so much more hope and so much more light for our highest and best, with grace and ease. We ask that this is so. We command that this is so. We allow this to be so. From all the support possible pouring down onto planet Earth now, to allow this coronavirus to no longer be needed, to just wind itself down, dissipating off and off the face of the planet. Contained, controlled, dissipating, no longer needed, dissipating, until it just winds down. Activating the upgrade now. And I want to go right into, as I ask that one to continue to weave through, working with the grid from that perspective. There's so many beautiful beings on this here at Facebook Live. So Samia and I were in conversation before, and she was talking about Rory Duff, the dowser over there in the UK, the well-known dowser, and how, and I know Tim Wilde and Diana Cooper working on this too, as are many practitioners and colleagues I'm working on. There's a lot of people doing these kinds of meditations on the grid. So the more you listen to this, the more you listen to the replay, the more you share it, the more of us at a higher vibration. We move more energy when we're a higher vibration. We catalyze more energy. We have more ability to convert it into matter quicker. So the more of us living at these higher vibrations and contained within this kind of a setting, working with these vibrations in here, the easier it will be for that to sprinkle down, shower down, and grow, and then just basically dispel the need for the coronavirus. Yeah, beautiful, y'all. Okay, so go ahead and picture your favorite place on the planet, or ask, because we have people from all over the planet, or ask where your consciousness wants you to go to. It could be a sacred site, or it could be wherever you want it to go to. It could be a country that you know is getting hit hard with the coronavirus. But remembering the grid of triangles on the planet, right? What I'm trying to show you is like the southern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere, and the grid around the globe. The grid around the globe, crisscrossing on all those ley lines, and that the dragons are going out underneath. There's a lot of dragons helping always with me and with all of us, but that I'm working with, and they've been working with us since the beginning of this Facebook Live. And they're already powering out underneath the earth, spreading more Christ consciousness in the ley line. So if you want to visualize that with me, and some of you have been asking about the violet flame, that's great. It has a high transmutative power, so it can help transmute the lower frequencies, and that's what we need. So if you connect in with the violet flame, the easiest and the most, then use that, and just picture the violet flame going out across the grid, reaching all the sacred sites. You could also picture the cities, the main cities in the countries across the planet, really getting showered with the violet flame and then distributing out along the grid system, major city to major city, like Edinburgh, Glasgow, London, Bristol, New York, Toronto, Miami, Tampa. Like, you could just picture it spreading out the violet flame, and then the dragons also powering out underneath the earth. And I'm going to be silent while we all visualize this together. There's a lot of ancient ones here who want to help with us all now, with the planet. There's a sense of preserving the planet is what I'm hearing. Purification. And so what would it take for the COVID-19 not to be required in order for us to purify and be at one with each other and at one with nature and in loving support and communion with nature and with the animal kingdom? I'm going to burn it all up with the flames of transmutation, anything and everything that doesn't allow for that. Helen, I actually get, that's a beautiful distribution center, but I actually get that Nepal and Tibet are gonna be just fine. Like, they're not even getting touched. I tuned into that earlier today. Bring it down from the heavens, yeah. So it is. So you are seeing a sense of distribution. I'm sorry, I keep playing with my hair. That the violet flame is distributing out all across the planet. And you can, the obelisks that you know of, like the Glastonbury Tour or the obelisk in Cairo by the Sphinx or in Alexandria, like any obelisks you know of, they could be antennae for the heavens to bring down the higher celestial energies down onto Earth. Washington Monument, good, yep. The Seattle Space Needle. So let's do that. Let's visualize humanity's created structures and that the high light is coming down through these buildings and distributing out onto the earth. Of course your mind went there, Helen. Hi, Auntie Rini. Thanks, Lindsay. Yeah, Uluru. But let's also picture in your city tall structures that you know of. Like if you're in Boston, Auntie Rini, what's the high? I don't remember. Is it the Prudential that's the highest building in Boston? The highest building in New York City. Lori, what is that now? Is that the Eiffel Tower again? I don't know what the highest building is in Tampa. So the light is coming down through the highest building and it's able to distribute out all of the... Wow, Shannon. We're not just working with the grid. Thank you, Monica. Yeah, Statue of Liberty. We're not just working with the underground grid. What's showing itself that once we work with is direct affection to humanity. So first we work with the earth and the grid system, the dragon lines or the ley lines, and now we're actually working with the infrastructure for humans. So keep Dunedin Water Tower, yeah, it's probably our tallest. Keep picturing tall buildings in cities either that you're in or that you go visit in both. Excellent, Helen. Yep, that's true. Sergey, SunTrust in St. Pete. And then in Dubai, they have the tallest building on the planet right now. I know in Taipei, there's Taipei 101. I don't remember what's the tallest building in Hong Kong. Ray, if you know what the tallest building in Manila is. Think of all the mosques, steeples. Okay, so Laura, you're saying the One World Trade as well as Cleopatra's Needle in Central Park. The Toronto's, what is it called? Sears in Chicago, Sears Tower, yep, in Chicago, and then the Toronto, thanks Shannon, and then Toronto has a really tall tower. Yeah, Diane, you're so funny, Diane and Shannon are saying the same thing at the same time. So keep popping in your consciousness, and I'll channel the higher vibrations in your channel. You're bringing it down just by being willing to think in your consciousness and have the visual image of that tower or tall building. Thanks, Lindsay, for getting the Bay Area. What's the tallest building in LA? So Mexico City, let's bring it down to Teotihuacan, right outside of Mexico City, because those are really tall pyramids. Thank you, Nikki, on Tower, Toronto. So we're asking that there be an influx and an infusion of this purifying, cleansing light, almost as if it's water and water dragons are coming in on the stream, coming down through each tall building of every city, of every urbanized center on this planet. Stop. Stop. Good, Samya. Yeah, St. Paul's Cathedral, no doubt. Excellent, Lindsay. And so anything and everything that created City Hall in Oslo, thank you. So anything and everything that created the coronavirus spreading out to humans is now being reversed, not just dissipated, but it's now being swallowed back up to the celestial forces that can burn it up and suck it back up for us. We ask the Pleiades, the star system of Sirius, and their vast knowledge and healing abilities of the star system of Sirius, the blue healing rose of the Pleiades, the gold and white light of the constellation of Lyra, and Orion, star systems, with the fire and the solar fire. And we ask Archangel Metatron from the great central sun, with all of the stellar forces and the cosmic forces of fire, to burn it all up now in the atmosphere outside of the earth. Just suck it back up and dissipate it out there in the universe, please, for the highest and best good of all beings. And so it is. And what would it take for that to be? And how does it get any better than this? And what else is possible? And I thank you. Do this every day. Energy trumps matter. Energy is what creates matter. Frequencies are energy, and that's what is behind this. So not only did we use high frequencies, angelic forces Keith very much picked up on, but we also used lower consumptive powers like the dragons to consume the lower frequencies, and then the constellations and the cosmic forces to suck it up. So we approached it from all these different angles. Love you too. Thank you all for being here. Wow, I don't say that easily still after the decade and the Chinese love back. Yeah, resonance with love, with the movement forward of the new golden era. Thanks, y'all. I'm gonna keep letting y'all say bye. Please do share this. You're welcome to share this. Chandra, shake out your right side. Some of you may be feeling blockages dissipating, and that means you're gonna feel blockage, tightness in the side of your body or in an area on your body. The there was a lot of energy coming at you. And so in order for you to also be a vehicle of this higher light to come through and emanate from your mind, body, spirit field to help secure the hope and the calmness and the peace, you've had energy flow through where there's been blockages. So some of you are reporting some of that musculature tightness, and that's common as blocks. So chakras get cleared, and the tight musculature that's chronically tight gets cleared around it. Good, Diane. Beloved, you and Marilyn working in that owning and working in that assisted living facility. You're welcome. Thanks for being here, lovely lady back. I could turn on the light, but let's just let it be the sunset that it is here at this time. Tammy, just feel free to go back and listen to the replay. You guys all might, thank you for reminding me, Odie, that you, is it OD? Odile? I'm glad that you almost got knocked out. Some of you are reporting that. You're welcome, Linda. Thanks for saying that. Thanks, Cloud. Much love to you all. Again, you may need more sleep tonight. These are really high frequencies to integrate them. You're welcome. Okay.